Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I see that we got a good group of people. I am Ranger Steph from Richmond National Battlefield Park and Maggie L. Walker National Historic Site. And I am so excited to be here with you guys today to talk about Ranger careers. Usually I go into schools, we get the requests all the time from around here. Hey, can we have a ranger come and visit us at the school and talk about being a park ranger and how can we be a park ranger? And I love doing it. It's one of my favorite things to do is go in and talk about being a park ranger because I love being a park ranger. My background, like how did I even become a ranger? Like what is it that makes you want to become a ranger? Well, my family was very much into camping and being outdoors when I was younger, and when I was in second grade, my mom and my dad took us to a place called Mammoth Cave National Park. And when I got to Mammoth Cave National Park, I could not believe that somebody got paid to hike in a cave and give tours all day in a cave. I thought, man, that is the coolest thing ever. And I was right on the heels of that park ranger, and I remember her, and I was just on top of her the whole time within this 4-hour tour in Mammoth Cave. And I thought, what an awesome experience this would be. And from that point on, I knew I wanted to be a park ranger. And so I got started kind of trailing my entire life. How do I reach my career goal? What kind of skills and education do I need to be a ranger? Now, Amy, this is a great question. There are so many different ranger positions. It really kind of doesn't really matter what your background is. There is a position for you. So if you are into law enforcement, we have our own law enforcement rangers. If you are into biology and being outside and water testing, we have natural resource positions. If you're into accounting, we have budget analyst positions. If you're into maintenance and wanting to do preservation work and you're really great with your hands and a carpenter, then we have positions for you too. There are so many different positions, even historians, archaeologists, roads and trails, mowing the lawns. I mean, we have so many different positions. I have an undergrad in conservation law enforcement, and I also I got a minor in resource interpretation as well from Unity College in Maine. A very small college in Maine. And then I went to grad school, and I got at Stephen F. Austin State University in Texas, and I studied resource interpretation there. Those are very, very Park Service driven degrees, but really, like I said, anyone can really fit into the Park Service. There's places everywhere. Your background, anybody with a background, it takes a whole village to run a national park. Awesome. So thank you, Amy, for that question. Ryan, do you need to go to college? If so, what type of degree do you need? Awesome. I kind of just answered that, Ryan. Not necessarily. It is a good thing to have a college degree, for sure. But you cannot, but you can get into the Park Service without a college degree. It depends what field you're going into. Maintenance for sure has a little bit of a different skill-based than degree-based program. How hard is it being a ranger? Now, being a ranger, I mean, once you get this uniform, I mean, we all make it look amazing, right? We're pretty amazing people. But being a ranger is pretty cool. We wear a lot of different hats. We don't just wear this one. Sometimes we have to enforce rules. Sometimes we are the interpreter and the educator, and that's our main job. And then there's times that we have to do things that aren't so fun, like cleaning bathrooms, picking up trash. So we wear a lot of different hats and we work together as a team. So being a ranger is pretty awesome. You never know what you're going to get into each day. How are assignments given? Well, Mike, we actually can apply to the park that we want to work at. They're not necessarily given. We're not like the military where we are in active duty and told where we have to go. That is a possibility, however, once you get into the Park Service. There could be a mandatory move, but most likely not. The last time I knew of mandatory moves was way back in 2012. We haven't seen that in a long time, but you can apply to work at different locations, okay? Just like anybody else. Do you need to know a lot about history to be a park ranger? That is coming from Kathy, so thank you. You need to know a lot of information, yes, just in general. But good news is there's books and we can read up on that information. If you want to work at a place like Richmond National Battlefield Park that is based on Civil War and military history, then yes, needing to know history is very, very important. If you wanted to work more on the natural side, more recreational side of park, like let's say Zion or Yellowstone or Shenandoah, you may want to become more familiar with information about like the natural resources that are around you or the history of how your park became to be, because those are the questions that you're gonna get asked. Awesome. Tim, age 10, how many people work at your park? Ooh, good question. I actually have Ranger Bert in my ear right now. Ranger Bert, how many people work in our park? I think it's right around almost 20 or 30 people. I could be wrong. I haven't counted lately. I'm gonna wait for Ranger Bert to give me an answer. Okay, Bert is talking in my ear right now, okay? Bert is adding up how many people work at our park right now. Oh yay, we have 30. Awesome. So we're right around 30 people that work in our park. So I hope that answers your question, Tim. How much money we as rangers get paid? So it depends where you work and what level you are at in the park. So I know of park rangers that are we are on a GS a scale, and so some parks start rangers out at a GS3 and it can go all the way up to like GS15. So that's a wide range. Our salaries are actually posted online. It's public knowledge, so you can look up what a GS3 to a GS15 would make. And moving up in the ranks, of course, the higher pay you can get. But that is a very common question we get. I will tell you this. We may not have the biggest paychecks in the federal government, but we do love our jobs probably more than most people. I know I do. I'll tell you a little bit more about me and ranger careers that I do. Cool. So I have a few pictures here. I wish I could show you guys a slide, but so here's my little picture. This is me, Ranger Steph, kind of in a nutshell. I started off at a place called Prince William Forest Park with the National Park Service, but before that I worked for an awesome place, the state of Maine. I was a park ranger for the state of Maine, and I worked at a place called Wolf Neck Woods State Park, and I got taught by two amazing park rangers there, Tammy and Andy. They are amazing, and they really taught me how to become a park ranger and what being a park ranger is all about. And one of my favorite memories from Tammy is cleaning bathrooms with Ranger Tammy. She said, your park is only as clean as your bathrooms. And I think that is a great motto to go by, because we need to keep our parks clean. And I think that doesn't just take the park ranger, but it takes everybody, visitors and all, to keep our parks clean. Okay, so as a park ranger, we definitely wear many different hats. And like I said, I got started in Maine. I came to Virginia to try to get into the National Park Service, and that's when I got a job at Prince William Forest Park. And so there's me on one of my very first days on the job at Prince William Forest Park. And now I've kind of grown into different positions and had to do different things for the Park Service. And that even includes, you know, getting a little dirty, running a chainsaw, cleaning bathrooms, definitely working with kids. By far one of my favorite things to do is inspire our youth. And of course, long distance learning. So I'm kind of used to doing some virtual stuff, and I'm glad I could share that with you. So my mom is asking, what is your favorite national park you have been to? And what national park would you like to visit that you have not been to? Okay, so first of all, I would love to go to Yellowstone. It is by far my favorite park that I've always wanted to go to, and I didn't get a chance to go when I was at Grand Teton a couple years ago. And then my favorite park that I have been to, I would say, is Mammoth Cave. It is by far one of my favorite parks. I've always wanted to have an opportunity to work there. It's just very unique, and it is definitely a place I'd like to get to. Awesome. Where do rangers live? At the park or at home? Great question, Mike. So it depends. Like out west, I will take, for example, at Grand Canyon National Park, you are required, it's required occupancy to live within the park. So they will provide you park housing. But at places like here on the East Coast, where the national parks are really close to cities or, you know, suburbs and whatnot, and places to live, then you would live at your home. So not all the time are you living at the park. You can live outside the park. But yes, some places you have to, some places you don't. Okay, what major in college is suggested for future rangers? Thank you, Colby. Majors. Like I said before, it depends what you're really into. Law enforcement, a lot of people go into law enforcement or criminal justice, and they get into the Park Service that way. I studied conservation law enforcement. I thought I wanted to be a law enforcement ranger. Not for me. I have a best friend. Her name is Claire, and she is a law enforcement ranger. And I'll show you her. She's, oh, where's Claire? Okay, yep, she's right there. Whoop, there's my best friend, Claire. So she works at Fire Island National Park, and so you can get in that way. I know rangers that are into biology and they like wildlife and have gotten in that way. I know historians. I know many rangers. I work with lots of rangers right now that study history or military history and then come into the Park Service that way. How long does it take to become a ranger? So I became a ranger basically right out of college. I started as a seasonal ranger, and then it took me a few years to get in permanently as a ranger. But like I said, just being determined. If this is really what you want to do, making your resume and building your resume up to become a ranger is key. And some of the ways you can do that is becoming a volunteer for a park, for a local park near you, being a YCC or Youth Conservation Corps. That's something that you can do in high school. You can apply to become a YCC a member, or not member I want to say, but a YCC worker for a national park, and they will pay you to come work. Usually it's with maintenance and resource management to come in and do work in the park. And then there's also SCA, which is Student Conservation Association, and that is another way to volunteer, and they give you a stipend. And the AmeriCorps, you can go out and like build trails and be out west. It's a lot where AmeriCorps kind of comes in. But those are different ways you can build up your resume before you even go to college, or even while you're in college to become a park ranger. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day, and I hope to see you guys out at the park. Bye-bye.